announcer forever and ever.
Shoot. Oh, her husband did a lot of announcing,
Did
but yeah, there were others that, yeah, Bill helped quite a bit with the announcing.
I think the guy I'm remembering was, I think a retired doctor, maybe?
Oh, he's a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he delivered some of the club members' babies many, many, many years ago.
Well, I was going to say, when I first saw you, I was going to say, I don't recognize you without your cowboy hat.
Oh, well, yeah. I went to, let's see, I had an appointment to get my hearing aids done yesterday, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and it all just comes out. Of course, I'm got my head down, I'm reading it. He walks right over to me. He says, I have to really look to find my patients. He said, but with you, I don't.
Dana, we have a release form.
Oh, okay.
You can read that just basically says that.
Isn't that something we have to all do all this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that, and there's another one coming up here once the cameras are rolling.
Yeah. That we won't you be using your likeness for anything but the Orangevale History Project.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Besides, I figure God knows everything I do, and a lot of things that I don't even, would never admit to. But so I'm not worried about the things that I actually do say. Yeah, they need repotting badly, but they still do.
You call those Christmas plants or Thanksgiving?
They're called Christmas cactus. You bring them in at Thanksgiving time, and then they'll bloom. Yeah, and sometimes I neglect them and don't water them enough, and sometimes I overwater them.
Apparently there are two kinds. They're the ones like this. This is what I have that have the bumps on the leaves, and then there's another kind that's smooth.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures of those.
Smooth?
Yeah, the leaves are. See, these have little sort of bumps.
Yeah.
And there's some that are smooth that don't have the bumps. It's just a different kind.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't realize that when you were talking about the other day, when you were talking about Mary Harada, that she had died.
Oh.
Okay. So were we going to try to contact her family?
That would be good.
All right. Does she have family here? Do you know?
Susan lives, I think, in Lincoln. You can get that information from Carol Shoemaker.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Right.
Are the cameras rolling?
They are.
He's very efficient.
Hi, I'm Maria from the Orangevale History Project, and today Ken is our videographer, we are interviewing Dana Anderson, longtime Orangevale resident. We are at the Anderson home, and before I start, I need to read this statement. The opinions and memories expressed by the interviewee are hers, solely hers, and they do not necessarily reflect the opinions and beliefs of the Orangevale History Project or its affiliates. So, Dana, what year were you born?
1943.
And how long have you lived in Orangevale?
Since 1960.
And what brought you to Orangevale?
My parents. My dad came out here to work at Aerojet, and I was a teenager. And we went back a year later and got my horse.
And where was back?
Pardon me?
Where did you live before?
Oh, Superior, Wisconsin.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought it was nice there until I came to California. Until I came to Orangevale.
Yes. So, have you always? Did you always live in this house? Or
Well, my parents bought the house next door, and then when I got married, my husband and I had already bought the property here, the acre. Yes, way back when for what, $1,500. And we decided, well, we'll build our first house here. And of course, we got planted and our roots got deep, and we just didn't see any point in moving.
And do you have children?
Just one daughter.
And where is she?
She's living, I inherited my parents' house, and she's living next door right now with her husband, and was with my grandson too, but he went into the Navy. out of high school. So.
All right, well, tell us about Orangevale in the 60s.
Oh, it was a completely different place than it is now, and probably some things are better now, like the Kaiser Hospital is closer. However, when it came out in, especially after I got my horse, you could get on your horse, you could ride down Hazel Avenue and not worry about traffic. I met a lot of really neat horse people when I came out here, and just had a wonderful time. We could ride to the river. We didn't usually ride that way too often to the north, because we had all of the way to the south, like I said, to the river. We could even ride down to Negro Bar on the horseback without worrying about traffic. You could probably ride down Greenback Lane. I know we had neighbors and friends that did. One neighbor used to tie his horse up at and go in a store down on Greenback. Of course, there weren't that many places. But it was really a whole lot different, should we say, because we didn't have the traffic, and we didn't have the population around us. Orangevale, I don't think, has grown that much just in Orangevale. I know it's grown quite a bit, but it's what's grown up around us and the traffic.
You probably didn't have all the fences either.
Oh no, goodness gracious, because we didn't have, a lot of the land was vacant. Yeah, we could ride in what's now Indian Stone Corral, and that wasn't a fenced off area, which it is now, which we used to ride over there. And it was beautiful. We could ride. We went that way to go out to the lake. We could ride out to Beals Point, which we did, and no, that was. We had a lot of freedom, I guess, that you didn't have now. We didn't have to lock our doors, which is something now you lock them and you still worry.
Yeah, you didn't have to lock your cars back then either.
Oh no, gosh, everything was. When we moved into the neighborhood, we were told about one neighbor who was, probably a little bit of a problem. My dad went and talked to him, and he never bothered us. And like I said, it was just it was, let's say, a whole lot more comfortable. However, I find today that when you do, most neighbors now, new people moving in, that when you approach them, they do get to feeling comfortable. We've done neighborhood watch for years, and there's times we tried to do a neighborhood preservation area out here, and that's what I ended up getting really involved in, was the Preserve Orangevale's Country Life, because we could see with what was happening that we were going to lose our agricultural area here in Orangevale if we didn't fight for it. And of course, now with the new state streamlining laws that have gone through, that are going to go through in the county, possibly in the middle of December. I think it's going to be presented on December 14th to the Board of Supervisors, so we'll have to see what that does. And it's just going to it's going to possibly remove a way of life. It's going to take a while, but we're still going to fight right to the end.
What did you do in that group early on to preserve Orangevale?
Oh gosh, we at that time we had to fight, and we still do to this day, is fight people that wanted to rezone smaller and larger acreages to more like housing tracts. And Orangevale had come up with a beautiful plan. I got involved with that right in the middle 70s. Virginia Zabur, which is too bad she's not around for this, because she's just be a mountain of information for you. She got me involved, and we fought to get our library was taken away from us and put over in Fair Oaks. And that was one of the first things that I got involved with, was she had me get involved with the library. I'll never forget my first experience in front of the Board of Supervisors. That was very interesting, because we had some interesting supervisors, and I'll never forget Isla Cullen, who was not our supervisor, but I was, green and it's kind of scared. It's intimidating. You know, they're up there on their little stage thing, and you're down here talking to them. And one of the supervisors was he was staring at me and made some kind of snide questions, you know, that really flustered me. And Isla Collin just looked at me and she just gave me this reassuring smile, like, just you go for it, don't pay attention to it. So, and after that, like I said, we got involved with, like I said, trying to keep it from being rezoned here once our community plan went through. And so far, so good. But it's been a real challenge over the years.
What did you do to help start out the Twin Lakes Riding Club?
Oh, I didn't start out the Twin Lakes Riding Club. They didn't have an arena, but I met people, you know, when I was riding, and gosh, they met in a vacant field, and we, you know, had the games and such, and gosh, I'm trying to remember some of these first people way back when, and I can't. I can see faces. I can see horses. I knew the horses better than I knew the people, because you know, teenage girls are horse nuts. No, they were going pretty good by the time I joined, and because, like I said, I was involved with them from what would be from my late teens, yeah, and then I couldn't join until I was 21.
Were you around when they first got the arena?
Oh, yeah, over here, yes.
When was that?
Boy, a long time ago. And I'm thinking that was possibly in the very early 70s or 1970. I'd have to look it up because I don't have that recollection. No, it had to be before. Yes, it had to be maybe in the very late 60s. Maybe just a few years after I joined.
Do you know who was doing that? Who actually built it?
Well, like I said, I'd have to go look at my membership list from back there. But I know that you know, like I said, we've had a lot of help from a lot of people over the years. A lot of people put in a lot of time and effort and big equipment and hard work, hard labor.
What were some of the hallmark projects that Preserve Orangevale Country Life was able to stem off?
Oh, the strawberry fields, the 52 acres off of Hazel, and again, we are up against a big-time developer from Southern California, and we banded together and turned out over 100 people at a meeting, at the local meeting, and he finally decided to back off. We've had others come through. Nursing homes are a big thing, and that sort of thing. And they, of course, this is if they can buy agricultural land cheaper than they can buy land that's zoned for such a thing, then they just get what's called a use permit, and then go ahead and put in their facility, which of course is, I mean, there's a lot of population moving in and just, you know, small lots. So it was really cramp our lifestyle here because of all the coming and going, and essentially those are businesses. And yes, we've had some back off when they found out that we were serious. Happened to have one developer who thought I was going to be influenced by him telling me, and this was at a meeting, that he had this was a project they were trying to get through in Auburn, and one of the leaders of the group or whatever, anyway, she was fighting against them. Well, he apparently got her convinced that he'd go behind her for becoming a supervisor up there. And so she went on his side, and I think he was trying to influence it. And I am not interested in anything like that. I'm interested in preserving Orangevale's country life and saving this for future generations. This is something very unique. And the more population builds up around us, the more unique this is, and to have this little area and to let kids grow up having the responsibility of taking care of animals. I'm just remembering in the past 4-H kids coming to the meetings at the supervisors' chambers, talking about how much it did for them to have the responsibility of taking care of that lamb or a pig, and with 4-H, and how responsible they were and how they matured because of this. And that animal, his life depended on whether they were going to take care of it properly. And for kids to be able to experience this, and I realize it's not for everybody, but it is a good experience. And just because we happen to be I guess would be called a minority of people that would like this type of lifestyle, doesn't mean it should go away. There still should be places for people like us.
We're looking at the history of Orangevale and how it was founded as an agricultural place where people can live and raise a family and farm if they want to. And so when you say it's unique, it is. And a lot of people feel like you do, that this is something that it's historical, that we need to preserve it just because of the history.
Yeah, and like I said, it should be here for future generations to enjoy. I know how much I got out of it, and I know helping some of the youngsters. Like we kind of had an adopted granddaughter. We ended up hauling her and her horse around. And I remember she was in 4-H too, and she did the hog, and she walked it over here from her house. She lived over on Peerless, and walked it over, and she used to walk it around the neighborhood. And to this day, and she's got to be in her middle 30s by now, and she lives out of town now, but I think in the Fresno area, but she comes every once in a while because her mother still lives up here, and she'll stop by and let me know how much she appreciated how hard I was on her, because she boarded her horse here for a while. So you got to come, and we got to go out. You got to go out in the muck and the rain and take care of them. They got to be taken care of then as much as you do when the weather's nice.
Were you involved with the FFA at Orangevale High School?
No, I wasn't involved with the FFA other than the students, but I did do a 4-H group for a while, and that was a horse group and did some judging at their shows, and that was a wonderful experience too. Met some really great kids and parents. And
when you were at the shows, did you do Western or English or what, or Gymkhana?
Oh, when I showed myself, or oh, I did everything.
Oh.
Yes, no, I started out Western because that's what they did here, and then I always liked riding bareback the very best. So then I went to riding English. In fact, I rode English in Gymkhana, in English style in Gymkhana. I had my old horse that I brought out here. He was just fantastic. And then I went on was very interested in dressage and jumping, which of course dressage is a very expensive sport if you really get into it as a sport. But just as to learn and be able to train and work with your horse that way, and because it's teamwork with you and the horse, and so I did a lot of that just for my own satisfaction. In Twin Lakes, actually, quite a few years back, they had some beginning dressage classes, which I did participate in, and then I did a lot of jumping. Really enjoyed jumping. I call that flying without wings. In fact, because I did daycare for my grandson from when he was a baby, I used to set up jumps in my pasture to practice, and he had to be there and watch me, and he got actually interested in jumping. And as in high school, he did some lessons over here because I didn't have a horse he could ride at that time, and he did some jumping and enjoyed it.
Did you ever teach others?
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. No, I had kids that I met over at the arena that belonged to the clubs that I would work with them on. They were interested in Gymkhana, which I had done a lot of, so I worked with them that way. No, I enjoyed working enjoyed really working with the kids. My mother made me start helping her with Bible school when I was a teenager, and Sunday school, and then I went on to doing that too. Yes, as a teenager, you really don't want to do these things, you know. Have to go to church and
What did you do as a teenager for entertainment?
horses. Horses, Twin Lakes was right in the last few years. Of course, like I said, it's quite a few years I haven't been active, but we did a lot of trail rides, and they had, little what they called play days, little horse shows, not anything real extensive like they do now. But no, we did. We did, and I had friends. We rode every time we could. We got to get together and ride someplace around in Orangeville.
Do you remember Walter and Nadine Black?
The name's familiar, but I can't put a face.
Do you remember the Vaqueros?
I remember the name again, and I can't remember that much about them.
Okay, there was a second horse club in Orangeville
Oh,
for a while.
oh, okay,
That's
yes,
what I was referring
yes, okay, yes, okay. Is it up on Chestnut? I just remember riding with the girls up there, and I can't even remember their names now, but I remember their horses. They were beautiful horses. One had white socks, chestnut with white socks all the way, all four legs.
Do you know why they formed a second horse group?
I have no idea. Let's see, the San Juan, they call them the San Juan Vaqueros, I remember that. And I'm trying to remember if they existed before Twin Lakes or not, and I cannot remember. But they were a younger group, it seems to me. And I think I was just at the age where I was just too old for them and too young for Twin Lakes.
Dana, you said you came here as a teenager. Did you attend school in this area?
I went to San Juan High for it was supposed to be for the whole year, but my sister and I and a friend's son were hit by a car, and so I only went to 6 weeks of school and then was out till the next semester. So.
Oh my! Were you able to graduate on time?
Oh yes, and in the top 10 of a class of. Let me put, at that time, the schools out here did not compare to the schools in northern Wisconsin.
Yes, I imagine. You said you spent a lot of time riding, and but were there any places through your life here, any stores or restaurants?
Oh, as a teenagers, Rick's Drive-In. We put our pennies together and get fries and Coke.
Where was that?
That was not quite. Let's see, it was on Greenback Lane, and they've even changed the lay of the land now. It would be this side of Main Avenue. Be this. I don't know if it was a second or third spot in, but you actually had to drive down. It's where I think the vet office is.
Okay.
The
Yes.
VCA vet.
Right. The American River.
Not American River. This
The
is
one on the other side.
we're right on Greenback Lane.
Okay.
Just almost to the corner of Main Avenue.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I remember that. And it had a fence in the back with a gate. It went back to the trailer park.
Could have. I don't remember that. I don't remember, because we just had Cokes and fries and hung out there and.
Did that get converted over to George's Produce?
Yes. Yes.
So Rick's Drive-In became George's Produce?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Rick's was a hangout for the kids. I mean,
Did you ever go to the Foster Freeze or the Hangaber, was it?
Hank's
Hangaburger.
Hangaburger or something like that was, yes. I remember that, and I can't remember where that was. And I do, one of the things I remember really strongly, because my dad was always in law enforcement, and he or helped with it back there in Superior, and he came out here and got, became a guard at Aerojet. And so law enforcement has always been interesting to me. And we had, of course, Mr. Lee was our sheriff. And we didn't have to worry about the Hells Angels because they met him when they entered the county and they escorted him all the way through the county and out. And we had really, really good law enforcement. You felt very, very safe. And for what it is today, I mean, they probably way overstepped their bounds. But hey, and we were questioned at times. We knew how to respect the police and answer them, or the sheriffs, and answer them properly, and we just felt safe. We felt very safe.
Apparently there was a motorcycle club in Orangevale. It might have been before the 60s, I'm not sure. Do you know anything about that?
No. I do know about the ponies. I'm sure you've heard about the ponies.
Oh, the family.
Yeah.
What about the ponies? Are they still around?
I don't know, but Carol Shoemaker would know that.
Okay.
She would know that because she was kind of their neighbor.
Uh-huh.
In fact, one time when they shot up into the air for I don't know, who knows, was 4th of July or whatever, the bullet came down and hit her horse, so her horse had to.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and of course she went over and talked to them. But no, I just remember when they, let's see, one of them got shot because they were robbing one of the neighbors over there, I think off Vallejo. And of course the guy got in trouble initially, and then they let him off. No, and I remember, I kind of did know, I double dated with somebody that went out with a Tony pony, and he is the one that went into the Hells Angels, and which was very sad because he probably could have been a nice young man.
Did you ever go to the drive-in theater?
Oh yes, yeah, we did the drive-in a lot, and things that go on today, you didn't worry about somebody shooting or anything like this, and now I would never go to a drive-in now. I would never go to probably even a regular theater now. I'm not even sure I want to watch what's on TV.
Well, what were some of the supermarkets that were around here?
Oh gosh, cannery sales on Main Avenue.
Is that where P&D Market used to be?
And let's see, the cannery was. I thought the P&D. There was one on the corner of Main and Greenback, on being the southwest corner.
Okay.
And I don't. Was that P&D, or P&D was the one down on Main on the other way? Okay,
Yeah.
and so. And I think that became cannery sales, and I can't remember what the other one was, but we went. That was the main one we went to.
Vans or Vons?
No.
Parade?
No, those are all newer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I can't remember. I remember a Vans Market, but I don't remember where that was. That could have been Vans.
I think Vans preceded Wild Sports.
Oh, yeah, and this was way before that.
Oh.
Yeah. Because that was the main one we went to when we came out here, was the corner of Greenback and Main.
And you remember Capri Market?
Oh, well, yes, yeah. And my older sister actually worked for them. She used to, she had lots of great stories to tell. They had the Tong Wars there between the brothers. She told some amusing stories about them. And she was very good friends with some of the wives of the
Tong family?
yes. And good friends with some of them too, because she worked there.
I guess they rented the property out to Walmart.
Oh, they still hold the property? Oh, smart.
So the Tong family is still around?
I think so. They would be good ones to interview.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Walmart got in without local approval.
Oh, that's interesting. I had no idea.
Home Depot tried, but they got turned down by the Orangeville residents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know we're trying to keep the really big box stores out here. We're trying to keep it more of a small town atmosphere. Because I mean, you don't have to go that far to go to a big box store.
Now, San Juan High School was the only high school when you were here.
They had started building Bella Vista, and my sister was 2 years behind me in school, and she had to go. She went to Bella Vista, and I went to San Juan because they only had, I think, just freshman and sophomore year there at Bella Vista.
I think that was 63, 64.
No, so it was 60. Like I said, we came out here in 1960.
Okay, I didn't think Bella Vista was built until about 63, 64.
No. They had part of it built, and like I said, they were just had the freshman and sophomore class, because my sister was a sophomore. Yeah, we used to ride through where they ended up building Castle Roble. We used to ride through there all the time.
Was it agricultural, or was it just?
It was open land there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were fence places here and there, but yeah, no, we could ride through there. We used to go down off of Eden Oaks and cross the creek and ride through.
What were some of the roads like Greenback and Madison and?
Well, of course,
Maine
Greenback was just 2-lane. I remember the first year that I was a member of Twin Lakes, I rode in the Powwow Days parade, and of course it was 2 lanes and all the beautiful palm trees and hills, hills and vales. Yes, and it was beautiful.
Was Hazel paved at that point?
Oh yeah, Hazel was paved. Of course, it didn't go through to the river, and we almost knew everybody that went down Hazel. There were very few cars that would go down Hazel if we were on Hazel that we didn't recognize as, oh, that's the neighbor that lives back there. Yeah, we used to. I just remember. I think was it the first winter we were out here? We had a little light snow, and we were walking down. Of course, teenagers walking down Hazel Avenue, snowball, and every once in a while a car would come by, so we'd throw a snowball.
Do you remember the chicken farm over here?
Oh, of course, yes. I knew Joe Power. Yeah, he helped a lot with, our preserve Orangevale's country life.
Did he ever say how many times his chicken got stolen?
I'm only aware of the one time, so I have no idea how many times the chickens got stolen. But I remember the one time when it was gone for a while.
This big plastic chicken that was out there.
I remember seeing it when I first moved here, which was in '85. And that was Featherland Farm?
Yes.
Was it always called that?
Yes.
Do you know why they stopped doing chickens?
Well, they actually had a place up in Lincoln also, and then they ended up moving up there. And I don't remember why they quit here. I don't remember.
Do you remember anything about the railroad that went through Orangevale?
No, but I remember hearing about it. We talked about that briefly. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember if they didn't say that there were tracks on the other side of Hazel, somewhere over in that area. Did they talk on their?
I'm trying to recall from his maps.
Because I just remember being someplace, when we were horseback riding one time, and somebody telling me that that's where the railroad had run, and I'm thinking it was on the other side of Hazel.
Mm-hmm. Well, it did cut through Orangeville, headed in a northwesterly direction. That much I remember from last night. From the lecture.
Yeah, I think it was in that direction.
Oh, was it?
But
Yes, you're right.
So it would meet up with maybe what Folsom has now for tracks.
Well, apparently it started in Folsom. The
Yeah,
railroad.
yeah, that's what I mean. That's where. Yeah, okay.
Oh, and where'd you do your clothing shopping and your?
Oh, let's see. We went to Country Club, and I remember early on, we'd go right to Sacramento because there wasn't anything out here. Which, of course, it didn't take very long to get to Sacramento at that time.
Country Club was the last shopping center, if I remember right, until you got out here.
Probably. Yeah, that's why, like I said, we went to Sacramento and we went to Country Club. And, of course, our first saddle shop was George and Carol's over there in Country Club. I got my first horse trailer over there, or the one that, well, I got my first horse trailer when we went back to Wisconsin, had to get something to take my horse back. And then got my first real one here.
Did you just have one horse?
That I brought out, yes. But I've had as many as, I guess we've had 4 of our own, and I've, because I got involved, you know, with had horses at the track, and I bought my 2 stallions that I bought at different times when, you know, one lasted just, you know, died at surgery. We won't go into that. But, and I got the other one, and they were both from the breeder that owned the mare, and they were both up in Grass Valley with the fellow that owned the stallions and boarded the mares there. And so I've had those, and then I've had some offspring from them, and then because I was involved with the track, then they'd have me rehab horses here too, so I'd board them and, you know, have to do their bandaging and what have you for rehab.
I thought you had to be a certain age to have a stallion.
No. Maybe to show possibly, yeah. But like I said, I was then in my late teens, early 20s, so yeah. Yeah, my first colt I got in '63. And I got him. He was a baby. In fact, that Ted Shapps brought him down here with the mare, and that's where he was weaned. He took the mare home, and I had the baby here. And my old horse I brought from Wisconsin, who I found out had been at least ready to race because he had a lip tattoo, and that's how I found out. They don't tattoo him until the day before the race or whatever. Yeah, when they're entered in their first race. And he was just so good raising the babies. He was really good.
Did you ever get involved with Shetlands?
No. No, I've always just had horses, and of course, because my first one turned out to be a thoroughbred, that's all I've really had, you know, except, you know, the crosses, so thoroughbred crosses. I've only ever sold one horse, and that was we were bred a mare for somebody that we met that had race horses, and he wanted to make a deal where we would get one foal and then he would get the next, or vice versa. And I was never a mare person. They don't have the personality that fits with mine real well. So I was like the geldings and the stallions. So I had already decided that if it turned out to be a filly, it would be sold, but not until it was 3, because I don't believe in 2-year-old racing.
When you say you worked at the track.
I didn't work at the track. I had my horses at the track. And
what track was that?
Oh, it would be the old California State Fair track, and then Cal Expo. And I got to my last stallion, before I turned him over to the trainer, I got to ride him on the track. And that was a thrill of the speed of that horse was just, you know, he was amazing. He was a real amazing horse.
I remember the old track at the old state fairgrounds.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to ride that track, but I did ride the Cal Expo track twice. Once on my old gelding. Yeah, I came back and I had some trainers wanted me to ride for them. And I said, no, I weigh, or that was a bit lighter than I said, I weigh 125 pounds, that's way too heavy. He said, no, not for training. And I said, no, I just brought my horse to Ted Shapps to be trained, and he let me ride, I got to ride, and then when I got to ride my stallion there. Now my stallion, I trained him across the street, the 5 acres across the street where my good neighbors lived. They hadn't built, and there was nothing there. And my husband did me a little dug up, and that's where I trained him and worked him for running, because I wanted my first young stallion. He had a real light. Both of my stallions I showed at Twin Lakes before they ever went to the track, and the first one, I had what they call real light mouth on him, and so when the jockey went to, the trainer told him, don't let him get ahead. Well, this horse was really fast, and he went on his first race, and of course he went ahead, and the jockey went and jerked him back, figuring he had a hard mouth, and the horse, and this jockey was not the one that was supposed to ride him. It wasn't the one that had been training him, and he jerked him back, and this horse almost stopped dead in his, and apparently he gulped air, and it caused and I can't remember exactly what it was called, but something flipped over and stopped his breathing, and he was able to finish the race, but he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. So the next one, Saberly, I made sure that his training was with my weight, and I could pull on his mouth, and he's not gonna stop for just pulling out his mouth. But like I said, I trained him on the hill across the street in the deep stuff, and he was, like I said, when I got to ride him at the track, I've never been so fast on a horse before. I mean, the tears were running out of my eyes, just because of the wind hitting you so hard. No, that was a thrill of a lifetime.
So were you ever a jockey in a race?
No. Well, my girlfriend and I used to race our horses over where the frisbee course is now. Yeah, we used to.
Where'd you get your tack from?
Well, George and Carol's was where my first place.
There.
You used to have to go to, yeah, and of course then started buying out the catalog, later on. So I stuck actually with the same kind of saddle all year, because they're a good saddle without being, it's not the real expensive ones. And Miller's Saddle Company puts out good saddles. They put out a collegiate. And my last saddle I got is, again, at Miller's brand. That one I ordered.
So is your family taking up horses also?
Like I said, my grandson was very interested. In course, now he's in the Navy. But yeah, no, I took after my grandfather. Apparently, he was quite a horseman and was in the cavalry. And I guess as a much older man, I think my mom said he was in his, was he in his 90s yet? I don't know. I can't remember what she told me, but he was a little old man, and went to our fair, Tri-State Fair there in Superior, and the cavalry was represented there, and they told him he could get on one of the horses, and I guess he was just in tears over that. Once you're just once you're a horse person, you're a horse person. And my mother was afraid of horses.
But your dad wasn't.
Now my dad did some work with horses when he was young, but he was not a horseman. But he did everything for my. If we came out here, he had a stable built on his place for my horse. They actually bought so they'd have an acre so I could have a horse.
And your daughter, where did she go to school?
She went to Casa.
And
Now she rode when she was young. She rode right up until she was maybe about 7th, 8th grade, and her dad started teasing her about smelling when she came in from the stable. And so she kind of just slowly got away from it,
So where'd she go to elementary school?
Well, she started at Green Oaks, but they put her in an experimental kindergarten. And for a little girl that had never gotten spanking, she may have got her hand slapped for grabbing something she should have been, she was never, but it was an experimental kindergarten where they could, and they had 2 kindergartens. They had the regular one, and they put her in the experimental one. And they could sit anywhere they wanted. they didn't, you know, instead of learning things, they made bean dip, and they apparently, and it just was not good for her. And I went and talked to the principal. Of course, before then I had gone, and we couldn't really afford it, but she went to the Christian school down here on Hazel, and so she ended up going all through 8th grade to the Christian school, and then went to CASA as in high school. Yeah.
Did she enjoy CASA?
Yes, oh yeah, she was in band like I was, and you know, when you're in band, it's like being on a team. Yeah. And she had there's pictures over there, and one is at the prom. I don't know if you can see the one over on this side is at the prom, and she and her that's all 4 of them are band members, and they're not boyfriends and girlfriends. They're just good friends, and they did the prom together. And they did everything together, and so that was a really good experience. And she was very good at the clarinet. She won the Marine Corps Award. So
what was your instrument?
Clarinet. And my grandson, he did the same thing, and he was just fantastic. So.
Was she involved in the FFA?
No, like I said, she would just wanted to get away from the horse thing after her. I guess. Dad was very important to her, and when Dad tells you you're smelly, you know.
So did she choose clarinet like you did?
Yes, and my grandson did too. I mean, I had the clarinet. You know, she started at piano at 4 because this is a kind of a family thing. We were forced into it, you know. And I said, well, I still have a piano, and I still enjoy it. And yeah, my mother played the piano. My dad had to take violin lessons when he was young, and she made me look at, and I'm facing out the window, and there's my friends across the street playing ball in the lot, the dirt lot. You know? But he liked me. He liked our music. Yes.
Did she ever go to field shows? Band? Your daughter?
I'm trying to remember what they did. I don't remember a whole lot.
Did they ever have a marching band? Or was it just a concert band?
Shoot. I don't think they had a marching band. When I was in high school, we did. Yeah, we went all over the state. We went down to Milwaukee for competitions. We had a retired Marine Corps band leader, and I mean, we were good. Yeah, you don't dare not be good. But I mean, he knew how to get the best out of us. He just knew how to challenge us.
Bella Vista has a marching band, but CASA does not.
Yeah, and I don't think I just don't remember that they had a marching band. But like I said, there was, when I came out here, I apparently was a bit snobbish about high school because they were so far behind us. And of course I went into band, and I didn't stay there very long and I should have, because they needed the help. But I'm thinking like a teenager, and like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
So did you used to date back then, or was it all horses?
I dated, but I was one of these that, you know, you date somebody 2 or 3 times and they want to get serious, and I just want to enjoy life, enjoy people. I didn't want to. I set a thing for myself. I'm not getting married until I'm 25.
How did you meet your husband?
Post office. I was working at the post office, and he was retired service and got into the post office, and we knew each other actually for some years, and he divorced his wife, and we got together, which I would never have thought, you know, because he wasn't my type, as far as I knew. And yeah, and we had, let's see, but I think just short of 49 years of marriage. So. That was God's got a plan.
Mm-hmm. Can you think of anything else?
I don't think so. I think we've covered things.
I'm still interested in the construction of the Twin Lakes Arena, but maybe Carol Shoemaker.
Carol, I know, and I know I have the information put away, but she's probably a whole lot more up on that than I am. Yeah.
We have you pegged as the Preserve Orangevale Country Life lady, and Carol Shoemaker is the Twin Lakes lady. Although I know things overlap, of course.
Yeah. No, I was very felt very good the last time I had to petition, which at 77 you're out running, walking the streets again, a street walker. But all the new people that have moved in these streets, and I even had one of the other neighbors go with me because we drive, because I just don't walk Hazel anymore. And we went into a lot of those new places, or new to me. And people really, really, really want to keep this lifestyle. And even the people on Hazel, because they're telling us, down the county, nobody wants to live on Hazel. This might as well all be commercial. They want to turn Hazel into commercial. And but these people, they're off the road, but they can get on right away to go to work and get off coming home. And they're back in their space, and they've got their space, and they've got their room around them, and leave me alone.
Were you ever involved in any of the private vineyards around here?
No. Except my neighbor, it was several neighbors ago that planted the vineyard, and then the neighbor that just sold and moved, he actually made a lot of wine, so I got to have some of the wine. It was very good. Yes, and it's a lot of hard work having a vineyard. It's a lot of work involved.
I think Orangevale has 6 or 7 of them.
There's quite a few, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got that one on Mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and I know there's I think there's several off of Golden Gate down that way. I think there's 2 at least down there.
There are a bunch of grapes growing at the corner of Granite and Cherry.
Oh yes, yeah. I forgot about that one. I go by there all the time. I guess that's why I forgot about it.
What do you know about that new horse arena that went up over here?
I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that they're cater to the more higher end people.
Fancy.
Yes.
It looks very fancy.
Yes, and I know when they first went in, they were kind of a pain to the neighbors there because of apparently where they were putting their horse manure and the smells and what have you. And apparently this gal there has been nice to some people and not nice to other people. I've never ever stopped by there. But they cater more to the people with the big bucks. But we do have our Olympics people right down the street, and she's the one that actually rode in dressage and got medaled, as she's right over here on Cherry. And the Rayleighs are just Perrys actually are just really wonderful people.
Yeah, I thought they were the ones who owned Big Sky. Is that not true?
No, they don't have any. I don't know that they have any connection at all with Big Sky. I'm not going to say they don't know anybody that goes there, but yeah. No, the Perrys have been wonderful neighbors. I mean, they've gone up to Auburn when we've had to fight our battles up that way because of what was going in next to us in Placer County, and they've just been very good support for preserve our Orangevale's country life.
That property they have is just beautiful.
Yeah, and they are just really nice, ordinary people. Yeah. Yeah, and I understand Mrs. Rayleigh is just wonderful too, because my handyman used to be a general contractor and worked for Rayleigh's and know her quite well. Yeah.
Well, I think we're good. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
No, just like I said, we want to keep fighting for our country life, as difficult as it's going to get. But if you don't fight for it, you're going to lose it. So.
I can't think of anything else.
I think that's good.
Okay. Well, thank you for spending the
Oh
time
yeah,
with us this afternoon.
I appreciate you doing this for our future generations and our past, you know, and maybe people can come in and fill in the blanks